early on in marriage, pre-kids, every year to envision our life and the upcoming year and our future. So we would go away our own retreat, and it wasn't always these luxurious places. It was just going away and write out our goals and talk about our 5-year plan.
I would just tell people to not underestimate the importance of having conversation. I think the young people today, we talk to our son about how he meets people and, they communicate very differently. We didn't have the tools that they have, right? We didn't have Snapchat, Facebook, that made communication different, right? Put your phones down and look the person in the eye and be willing to have those kinds of communications. Be willing to step away from some of the technology and, do some of the things that are important, like take a walk with the person in nature.
100%.
I would encourage folks to meet folks in just everyday kind of old school ways, like going to church.
Jen was making more than you. You all were married.
Yep.
Was there a weird dynamic in your marriage as a result?
My view was...
Hello, party people. Welcome to the DOTTIE House podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to Jennifer and Sekou Kaalund. They have been married, y'all, for almost 25 years. They have 3 beautiful children, one that just finished his freshman year at Morehouse, one young lady that is in high school, and another daughter that is in middle school. So they are busy, busy, busy. But not only are they busy as a family, they are killing the game professionally. Sekou is a senior executive at U.S. Bank. Prior to being at U.S. Bank, he was at J.P. Morgan for many, many years. If many of you all are familiar with the Black Pathways program, he started that program. So it is a thank you to Sekou for you all having that opportunity. And Jennifer, she is just a bad boss in her own life. She is a Ph.D. She is a professor of religious studies. And as you know, she also runs the household. So Jennifer and Sekou, thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be here, yes.
So let's get into it. I know the story, but our guests want to know. How did you guys meet?
Well, depends on who's telling it. You want to go first?
I'll
or?
let you tell your version.
Okay, I'll do my version. It was a sunny day, not a fog in the sky. You actually met, we're both from North Carolina, and we met in a program called Inroads. And at the time, it was the high school component. I was sitting with one of my closest friends, Eric May. We were in the front row, and she walked in, and I was like, yo, what you think about that one right there? And, again, so she caught my eye early on, but I think when she sealed the deal where at that time I was dealing with a little bit of financial difficulties with my family, and we went to Taco Bell, and I didn't have lunch money.
The same day?
Not the same day, but just during that summer program.
Okay.
And a chalupa stole my heart. May have been a chalupa, but she bought me some Taco Bell, and I said, this is a keeper here. But that's my version of the story. I'm interested to hear yours.
Yeah, because that's way too short. I need a more detailed version. So Jennifer, let me hear your version. He walked into the program, and did you notice him?
Yes. I'm sorry. It's her turn? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I would say I noticed him, but throughout the summer I did. Sekou has always been talkative. I mean, he's really intelligent. So I did notice that about him. And I thought he was a cute kid at the time. And so we met that summer in a program, learning about leadership skills, how to get an internship. And
wait, were you guys in high school? I mean, like, was it freshman year, sophomore? Like, what year were you in high school?
Junior or was sophomore, junior?
Had to be.
Because we interned, so probably junior.
I'm thinking junior year.
Okay.
Yeah, junior year of high school.
Yes.
So,
wait a minute, party people. They've been together since junior year of high school. How rare is that? But you're going to know why this is so important, because they are freaking killing the game. Find your wife and build your life. Lock in early. Sorry to interrupt you, but that is like so important because so many young people, they don't think about getting married until they're in their 30s, but we'll get into that. So Jennifer, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't disagree with that, but I'll tell you why when we get there. But so yes, we met and we stayed in touch. And I would say this, Sekou and I were friends and have always been friends. From that moment that we met, we have not like lost touch with our friendship. So we became friends and stayed in touch. We went to separate high schools. And at some point during our senior year, he, asked me if we wanted to start dating. And so
let me tell the real story here. I need to interject. So, she went to, cause she's the smart one. So this public boarding school, the School of Science and Math. So all the smartest kids were from North Carolina. I had a friend from Raleigh that was there. And so we had been, dating, somewhat because again, from the program. And this friend said, Jim wants you to, make sure you actually ask her to be your girlfriend. And I'm like, okay, I guess I could do that. And so then I ask her and then she says, I'll think about it. And I'm like, what? Like, what wait a minute. Like, what are you thinking about? And so, but that's how we officially started dating, in 1992 in August.
see if you remember.
But you went to different colleges. Let's talk about that. So you were dating senior year of high school. You went to prom together? Did you go to prom together?
Yes, yeah.
So cute. And then what?
And then we talked about where we were going for college. We ended up in 2 different states. Sekou was in Virginia. I was in North Carolina still in Chapel Hill. And we saw each other a lot. I mean, my dad used to say that our car probably could go on autopilot to Hampden-Sydney College, and he was correct. So we stayed in touch throughout college, and
I'll take it a step back even. This is as I reflect on all the times you've been there for me, but this is before, for you young folks out there, before there was, typing on a computer. You had to handwrite some of your applications or use a typewriter.
That's true.
And my penmanship, let's say, wasn't the neatest. And that's writing for, again, you young folks. And so she helped me like fill out the details. So at least be neat because my handwriting lacked, again, the elegance that it needed per se. So yeah, she actually helped me, with my, college applications. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jennifer, you were writing for Sekou from day one.
I mean, yeah, we were. I mean, but literally this was part of the friendship thing, right? So, and it's a different era. So like, I was at a boarding-ish school, so our opportunities together were somewhat limited in how we, it was almost always supervised time together. And so it was like, what do you need to do? We need to get our college applications done. So bring it with you. When you come to visit, we're going to sit down and work on this together. And so yes, there's always been that element of looking out for each other.
I love that.
So and she always made me feel good and special. And I'll give an example of that. So she went to the school, and again, it's important that I say this, of science and math. And I say it that way because we were together one of these times, and she asked me for help with a math problem. And I'm like, sure, and I'm feeling good, and I help her out. And as I'm driving back home, I'm like, wait a minute. You're about two levels ahead of me in math. She didn't need my help, but I felt good helping her. But that is just my random story of again.
Let's get into it. So Jennifer, did you really need help with the math problem, or you just wanted your boyfriend to feel seen and heard? Because there's a lesson in that too. Let's get into it.
Is right. There is. I mean, I don't recall needing help. I don't recall.
You see,
that was specifically, but it could have been a concept that I, wanted to learn in a different way or hear in a different way. But
she was past it. Maybe she forgot it and felt like you still working on that. Why can't you?
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah. It's possible. But you're right. I mean, you're right in that it's important for both of us to feel seen and heard. So.
And needed. Like I always tell clients that, especially if they're in college and they're dating, or even if you're living in the city and you have an apartment and there's a guy that you like, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, can you come help me put up this bookshelf? Or there's a rat in my apartment. I'm scared. Can you, whatever. Like men love to feel needed. Like that is like an easy way to get their attention. What do you think, Sekou?
No, absolutely.
Absolutely. Wait a minute. So did you guys break up at all in college, or did you have a straight 4-year
Yeah,
story?
we were together for, of course, yeah, you can't be together since 1992 in the year of our
No.
Lord of 2025 and not have broken up.
Periods of time.
Yeah. But
So
I was,
let's get into it. Why did you break up? The people want to know, because also I love the fact that you were able to maintain a long distance relationship. You know,
I would say the breakups happen, and everybody has different situations. I think what's more significant is that in all those periods, even when I studied abroad, I was living abroad, we didn't go 1 week in our lives, probably 30 plus years without speaking to each other. So even when we were broken up, we still spoke to each other.
That's true. And that was probably the first time we broke up was he was going to go study abroad. And, we were.
Was that the first time?
I think
Yeah, maybe
so.
maybe so.
I think
I don't remember those periods. I just remember the periods together.
That's good. That's a
So.
good thing. But, it was kind of like, you need to go live your life, go do your thing. I don't want you to, be in Spain and feeling like, and at that time I was like, I'm going to come visit you. But then I was living my life. All right. I was enjoying being a college student, as college students do. And then again in grad school, I think we were trying to make a decision about, where we wanted to be as individuals, and then trying to see how the other person fit into that vision. And so there was a period in grad school where he was tripping, and
they all trip, honey.
and I
Yeah,
was
you at
we don't have to do this.
No,
and
exactly.
he was in North Carolina and I was in Virginia, and I was like, we don't have to do this. So, you go figure out at that time, potentially staying in North Carolina. I didn't want to do that. Move back to North Carolina. Like, go figure that out and hit me up when you're ready to have a serious conversation.
Okay, I need to interject. Did y'all hear? Jen just dropped some gems here. She basically created space for Sekou to go live his best life. Sekou was going into grad school. Clearly, he was feeling himself. He was going to Duke, did not know if he wanted to be in a relationship or not. You see him, he's fine. He's out here thinking, I want to live my life. And Jen said, go. You live your life and do what you need to do. She created space, didn't track him down. And if it's meant to be, it'll work out. The same thing happened with Jason and I. I was at Procter & Gamble living in Cincinnati. Jason was living in Dayton, Ohio, working for NCR. We had both moved a couple of times, long distance. And this is the closest we had been to each other. We were 45 minutes away. Then he took a job with Ameritech, moved to Chicago. He got brand new on me, Jen, talking about, why do you keep paging me? Because back then they had pagers.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, why do you keep paging me? I'm not on call. I said, got it.
Okay.
I'm going to give you all this space.
Exactly.
I got the memo, son. And here we are.
But let's talk about one of those happy moments. Three things I used to do. I remember in Spain, I would make these tapes, and so like playing music, and then I would talk over it. And again, this would be foreign to a lot of folks. And then I would send it. And so,
That is true.
she could play a tape and it's me talking and then music. And yeah.
Like a voiceover? Like you were like ahead of the time. So you weren't just in,
you
had a voiceover going on.
And I would say, and that's, the bigger lesson there is even though we weren't apart, like when you still do the things that matter and simple things to let people know that you're thinking about them and you put effort in, because it wasn't easy to try to record back, pause and do this and that. So, but yes, that is important as well. So even if you're
impressive.
not together,
That is true.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, if you're not still investing in some way, shape, or form, and at a minimum in the friendship, then it's probably harder to reunite.
Exactly. And I don't want to glean over this point. Sekou, when you said you've been together, you've known each other for over 30 years, obviously, since you met in high school, and it's 25 years now that you've been married in September, you never went a week without speaking to each other. Party people, the power of communication.
Mm-hmm.
It is so important. And I talk about it all the time. If you find someone that you can communicate with and have hard conversations and you feel seen and heard, and also they calm your nervous system down, you need to stick with that person. I mean, in the days of blocking, which is what people do now, they block people. They don't want to deal with it. They're moving on. They're not working through it. Hearing that you all communicated every week is impressive. You know, we were blessed without having the phones and all the distractions and social media and swiping left and right. But I don't know many people that have, you know, held a grudge. I mean, that have not held a grudge and have gone maybe a few weeks without speaking. Y'all have never gone a week without speaking. That alone is like, I bow down. Because when Jason tripped and moved to Chicago and then got all brand new on me, I didn't speak to him for 3 weeks. That's the only time that we've gone that long without speaking.
Right? But no, we really did. And that's why I said the basis of it was really friendship, because at some point he missed me enough to, you know, to reach out to say, let me tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I've seen. Let me tell you what I'm learning. Like I remember him calling me and saying he dreamed in Spanish for the first time and how exciting that was, right?
Aw.
And to know that he was sharing that with me, it was really about, as he said, kind of maintaining the friendship.
Well, and I think all that culminates to even within marriage. By any stretch, I'm a halfway smart guy and halfway talented. But even with that, it's all these decisions that you're making way before that help put you on the path that you eventually accomplish the things that you desire. And none of that would have been possible without her. I would have been successful in a different way, but to have someone that for weeks on end that you've talked to, it means there's a deeper level of understanding and someone that wants you to win. And so who could recognize that when you're not on a journey that's taking you to what is actually possible, because you're not living your dream, you're living someone else's dream, or you're trying to do something that's not aligned with your passion and purpose that you've said on many occasions. And I think all of those conversations over many years, when you get to those points that are pivotal, particularly in a career, then you have a partner on the journey that, I'm dependent on, because I care her thought, her insight. What do you think about this? And all that comes from having conversations. So I think it's intertwined, the personal, professional, everything's intertwined, but it starts with just, simple communication and having an interest in each other's success.
Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. So let me sum this up. Communicated weekly. You got real clear that Jen was someone that you could count on, that you valued her opinion. Jen, you obviously felt the same way about Sekou. You guys never missed a week without speaking to each other because friendship was the foundation. Did y'all hear that, party people? Friendship, not sex, not how many likes they had on Instagram or how many followers they have. Friendship, basic friendship and communication. When did y'all decide to get married?
So it was in grad school.
Yeah, it was in grad school, and it was an opportunity for kind of both of us to like, what are we doing next in life? And this is going to be a big move. And are you going to be a part of that move? So as part of my graduate program, I had an opportunity to take a job at that time at Johns Hopkins and live in Maryland. And I was hoping that he would want to be in the DC area because his degree was in public policy. So I was looking at townhouses, the distance between Baltimore and DC and all these things. And he was thinking about working with his mom in North Carolina, staying in North Carolina and doing some work to help his mom open a charter school. And so I was like, oh, okay. So this is an important point, right? Like, I'm getting ready to launch my career and this is the direction I'm going in. Is that what you really want to do? And to his point, I was like, is this what you want to do? Or is this your mom's dream? Like, whose dream are you getting ready to live if you make that decision?
And if you make that decision, then you go ahead on your way. And
I did say
mine.
that. I did say
which was a wake up call that I needed, because back to someone seeing your talent and potential and your passion. And I think when we're younger, we want to just make the difference. But just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. You still need to be anchored on, where your calling is, and helping someone with their calling and making that your calling might not necessarily take you to where your talents and gifts are needed. Right. And so, but no, there's that ultimatum. Sometimes you got to have, it was an ultimatum. And I was like, well,
What had happened was,
yes, yeah. And another thing too, it's not lost. She's a, professor, but she was corporate first. So she was the high flyer. For the first 5 years, you made more money than me. And
wait. We're going to go back. We're going to get
yeah,
right
yeah,
back into that real quick. Okay.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
going to hold it right there. We're going to put a pin in it. We're
Okay.
going to put a pin in it. I want to go back to Jen gave you basically not an ultimatum, but basically said, if you want to go back home and work with your mother, then there's no space for us. So then what exactly happened? I want the details.
Yeah. So additionally, we had won this national business commentary competition for Executive Leadership Council. So the top Black executives in the world. And so, from that, we also had the opportunity to meet again, handful of Black executives. So that did help me as well in terms of talking to people, and actually when we won that, I remember Camilla McGee told us both that the money that we won, was going to be insignificant.
Wait, this is money that you and Jen won? Like, who won
Yeah,
this? What
we
was
were
it?
winners, although she placed higher. Again, I told you there's a
Wait,
thing.
what was this competition? I missed it. Go back.
Grad school, so
For grad school.
yeah, and undergrad, but the Executive Leadership Council sponsored. Basically, you wrote an essay on business commentary on a business issue. I talked about public-private collaboration because I master's in public policy, and so we both were national winners.
Oh.
Yeah, and so, but from that, we went to Wall Street, we went to DC, to the, government, et cetera. And so I had met, Black executives, and it's hard to be what you can't see. So at that time, I didn't have exposure to recognize that there was, an Ann Fudge, Ken Chenault, all of these folks who were, at different levels of their career at the time. So that also helped understanding that there is, greater possibilities to make a difference, but also drive impact. And that just was an unfamiliar, my parents weren't corporate, so I just didn't have that back. So that helped that I didn't have to just go, just because I was passionate about helping people. And I wrote a thesis on education, in charter schools didn't mean I needed to then become a charter school,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
And
you
I
got
mean,
the exposure. Oh, go ahead, Jen.
say two things. One is my grandmother always told me to find a man who loved his mother. And I did. And so my ultimatum wasn't about their relationship as much it was about his potential. So that's the one thing. The second thing I want to say about the ELC competition where I placed third and I think you placed 10th.
No,
Fifth, I don't remember.
I'm weak. I'm weak. I'm weak.
See,
I am weak. Y'all stop. Both of y'all, listen, both of y'all were winners. Both of y'all went on them trips.
it's hard to hold back your greatness so others time. I've been doing that this whole time, and now I'm thinking she doesn't appreciate it. I should have played first like I could have, I had to write. I said, let me just, not have a strong closing. So she's, places higher than I do. So
we both learned so many lessons through that experience.
Oh yeah.
We gained mentors, both of us for our careers.
Yep.
Bernard Tyson in the healthcare industry was there and was part of my healthcare career. And Dr. Price Cobbs.
Oh yeah.
Who is a psychiatrist, a legendary psychiatrist.
Most Black executives he had
Wow.
Was the first person who spoke to us about balancing our career and our lives, our married life, and he was pivotal for us at different points when we needed him. So
amazing.
The idea of having mentors and people you can talk to, outside of your siblings and your family, so important for us. So
important. So Jennifer, you said two things. Your mom said, find yourself a man who loves his mother.
Yes.
That was the first point you wanted to say. What was the second? You were going to make a second point. You were because I said, how did you guys end up getting married?
Oh, yes. And I was helped by the ELC. Just having those kind of mentors.
Oh, having that support. That's right.
Yes.
So, okay. So then again, so you were both in North Carolina at the time, I guess.
I was in North Carolina. She was
Virginia.
In grad school in Virginia.
Okay.
So when I obviously drove up to Virginia, I bought the ring, all that great stuff, and proposed. I can't get emotional just talking about it. Let me keep this together. But,
Aw.
so no, because it was aligned to how we're thinking about life and what's next, right? And so all these questions about where we're going to be, different opportunities. So it was in that context, and the context is you're planning your lives together, right? And so what paths are you taking? Obviously, you've been in discussion about careers and interviews and all that great stuff. So it was all like a fully aligned discussion on life, career, etc.
So then you guys moved where? You got married and moved where?
York. So I started at the Federal Reserve Bank in New York because I decided to pivot and go into banking to then learn about banks so that I could become an executive eventually. And she started off at Johns Hopkins.
I was in Baltimore.
Yeah, in Baltimore.
Oh, so you all commuted. So was this during the engagement or during the marriage?
Engagement.
Oh, that's okay. That's fine.
Our money was a little different then. So we would be on the Peter Pan bus because the Amtrak was too expensive.
That's true.
At the time.
It's true.
So I'd take the bus from Port Authority in New York City. Yeah, I get off in Baltimore. Sometimes we would drive, too, but the bus was easier. Yeah, but we both had cars still. But yeah, so we would commute to see each other on the weekends. My grandmother lived in Baltimore as well at the time, so occasionally I would check on her too. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, so Brooklyn. I was in Brooklyn. She was in Baltimore.
Yep.
Okay. Love it. And party people, did you hear that? They did not have a pot to piss in. And I can tell you that is consistent amongst most of my friends that are married, at least my Black friends I've been married for 30 years. You all have been married for 25. You start and build together. We're not looking for someone who is ready-made, okay? You want to build with someone. So I love that you guys, that says a lot about your journey. Did you ever think you'd be living in the wonderful home that you have in Greenwich with the pool and all the things? Not trying to tell all of your business, but, did you ever even see this happen? Back then, think about it. On the Peter Pan bus, commuting from Brooklyn to Baltimore, did you see yourself with this lifestyle?
No, and I also should add that we were payday lenders to each other.
That's so precious.
The interest was hugs and kisses and everything, but she would get her paycheck. I would need a little money, and so she would loan. And same thing, I get paid back, and I get because when I moved up to New York, coming from the South, it was like, oh, you hear your salary, and you're like, yes, and then when you start to pay rent, you're like, no, and so again, it was like having to budget together. And you were more of a saver too, even before we got married. You want to make sure all our credit card bills were paid off, et cetera, et cetera. So again, growing with the point you're making, growing together financially,
That's huge.
It is something significant. So
It is. I mean,
I want to get into the growing together financially too. We're party people. We're going to get into that, but we got to stay on track. How long did you guys commute before you got married? And then when you got together, where were you?
Well, you were there. You did a year, and then I was living in Brooklyn. New York's not like the South where you get an apartment, has a washer, a dryer, all this nice stuff. That's how New York wasn't like that. So we decided to go to New Jersey, Hoboken, New Jersey. It was a brand new building.
Hoboken's nice though. I used to live in Jersey City. I lived in Jersey City in 90.
Oh yeah. You worked
92.
So at Cigna Healthcare. Yep.
Yeah. And so we got an apartment in Hoboken. He was working in the city. I was working in Jersey City.
And you were married at the time.
We got married a few months later.
Yeah. And September 2nd.
Yeah.
2000.
We got the apartment probably earlier in that year. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And Jen was making more than you at the time.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I gave her a head start. I knew I was going to do my thing for the rest of it. So I said, let me let her.
Let me give her some space to be a winner right now.
I'm coming. Don't you worry about me.
No, hate the player, hate the game. All right. So let's get into it. I really want to get into this. One, and I don't think I asked you this. I sent you all a list of questions, but this was not on it. Jen was making more than you. You all were married.
Yeah.
Was there a weird dynamic in your marriage as a result? That's question number one. And then number two, that's question number one.
No, my view was like if she was going to be the lead, in terms of financially and had the opportunity set, I was all in because it was one thing the Dr. Cobb said too, is what was best for the team. So I've always had the team mentality, right? So
Yep.
it's still one pot. It's still, so for me, it was fine. And then Executive Leadership Council also gave us exposure to people like Ann Fudge. So these Black women executives, as well. So, and again, I was a mama's boy too. So it wasn't foreign to have a strong Black woman handling her business. So why would you not want to, if she had a greater opportunity set, invest in that? And it didn't mean I wasn't doing my thing. I was still, I was ebony, 30 under 30 and all that stuff. So I was still like having my success too. But if she had the best opportunity to go further, as a team, that's what
Absolutely. I love it. So
Yep.
you said the one pot. So I want to get into that. That's my second question. How do you manage your finances? And has it always been one pot from day one, or are there two pots? What is your value system around managing your money as a family, as a married couple? And what is your advice?
Yeah. I mean, for us, it's always been one pot. Because there was a time when the pot was empty. You know what I mean? So it was because it was, like this is all we have, what we're gonna do. When we had, resources, it wasn't odd or strange. It was never yours or mine. It was, this is what we as a team. And to this day, that's where we always go back to. Is this what's best for the team, or is this what's best for you as an individual? And that's how we've made so many career decisions. There was a time in my career where I wanted to be at headquarters because I thought it was best for my career. I got an apartment in Connecticut. Sekou was still living in New Jersey. And we made that decision because at the time, to his point, he thought that's what was best for the team. I needed exposure to the leadership so that I could get the next job, all of those things. And then quite frankly, 9/11 happened.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Connecticut. He was in New Jersey. I couldn't get back to him fast enough.
And I was going through World Trade, and I worked in World Trade earlier that year.
Oh, my goodness.
And so we had a conversation. I mean, we had a values conversation at that point,
Yeah.
right? Was, in this moment that I felt like I could have lost you, would it have been worth it to be away from you, right? Knowing that I was doing this to be, the next VP of X, Y, and Z at, this healthcare company, or is there something more, right? For us, right? And honestly, that's when the pivot in my career happened from healthcare executive to education. It's when I seriously considered having children, because before then I was career focused, and Sekou was like, that's a deal breaker. Quite frankly, I was like, "Are you
We
sure?
didn't discuss it up
Life
front,
is good. Like, I think this
but
is
I'm like,
wonderful.
no.
Like, who needs
I want you
kids?
cheering,
Yes."
Did y'all hear that, party people? They were so aligned on values and the communication. What I love is the communication. I mean,
Yes.
9/11 happened, and then you all had a proper conversation. Like,
Yes.
it's so clear to me having this conversation with you all that you are lock in step relative to communication. And like, you were like, you didn't just keep going through the motions. Like, we made it through 9/11. No, you were like, oh no, this is a pivotal moment. We need to have some conversations. I mean, that's beautiful. And then the one pot. I mean, Jason and I have had one pot since day one, but there's a lot of talk on, the internet. I need to keep my money separate. And so many men and women are getting married later in life. So they have already, a nest egg, so to speak, and they don't want to put everything in one pot. I am ride or die one pot because you move as a couple. If you're moving separately financially, you're not moving as a couple. What is your advice to young people? You've had some mentors relative to managing their money as they're thinking about marriage.
Oh, I would say it doesn't mean that we haven't disagreed. That would be a
Yes.
source of frustration for her. Because I would invest in private equity, venture capital deals I got access to, and the communication in my mind. It's I wouldn't say I'm here's where we're going to invest, and so it wouldn't be the fact that I made the investment, but I realized at a certain point, I was like, well, I kind of know what I'm doing here, and so I'm going to make this decision where that would create conflict, and so again, even though it's still one pot, you do need to be aligned on investment strategy. Now, again, you have people that manage your money, but you still have to have a point of view on stuff. But in those earlier days, I think it is probably still helpful to seek out like a financial advisor, go through a financial plan. What is it that you're trying to do? I almost lost her day 2 into the honeymoon. She almost died by falling 100 feet. True story. We were biking down Mount Haleakala in Hawaii. And so when you go up at night to see the sun rise, you don't see all these curves with no guardrail. And so I was behind her. I saw her bike hit a rock. Life moved in slow motion. It was like 9/11 watching the towers fall. And I watched her go off the cliff. And so, but knowing that as we were biking down, some cliffs were 100-foot instant death drops.
Jesus.
So she's unconscious. We climb down there to get her. We have to, and when she comes to, she asks me, "Are you all right?" I'm thinking, "You the one that just fell off a cliff. Like you're not all right." And but again, back to finances. I tell that story. No will, right? Again, we're newlyweds. We hadn't thought about, no life insurance, no any of that, and so that again, I would say start a lot of those discussions even earlier. We've been very fortunate, but I would say young people, start planning it out. And one other thing too, I remember meeting with one advisor, and let's say I was making, $2. And so as I'm talking to them, I said, well, I'm going to be making $7, $8 in probably 2-3 years. And the advisor looked at me because they're like, what you're saying is not computing, but I always had a bigger vision for, like, I always saw myself where I knew I would be, not where I was now.
Exactly.
And so I had to also push people, and we didn't work with that advisor because they didn't see what I saw.
Exactly.
And so you have to still have people who are experts though, in getting your will, having a plan, getting life insurance. As simple. I think I would have done more, even permanent insurance back then versus just a term.
And I think that's the thing though, is that we think we have to have something in order to do all of those things, right? Like we think there's some level of money. You need 6 figures, you need 7 figures to do X, Y, and Z, but you don't. You really don't start having to have that plan. And the sooner you have those conversations, I agree, the better some of our biggest fights have been about money. And it's not that it wasn't when we didn't have it, quite frankly. It was, you invested in what? Like, why? And why didn't you tell me? And when were you going to tell me? And like, I wouldn't have invested in that because he's much more risky and I'm much more conservative. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's working out fine, but it's a conversation that we needed to have. And, it was like, so what else are you, what else are you invested in that you haven't told me about? How much money have I lost?
Exactly, that part.
Right.
Okay, but I want to hit on this, Jen. What advice do you all have to young people that think they want to keep their money separate? People want to have separate pots. So what is your advice? Like if your kids got married in their 30s and let's say they got married in their 30s, they've been working for, a while, they had their own money. What is y'all's advice? Because this is real talk and a real issue that's happening with our young people right now.
Well, it's different from my children. They're going to have their separate trust pot because I don't know if whatever works out and whoever's not getting access to what we built.
Right, that's different. But I'm talking about when people get married. What do you think they should do?
Yeah, I mean, I think people could have like those initial, different accounts, and maybe but you still have it together, and if you want to use accounts differently, right? So this
I think everybody should have one pot.
Yeah, but it's like having totally separate, like how can you be one with the numbers, especially if you don't make a lot of money then, right? And not have a clear picture for everybody, for someone to say, is this your 5th time going shopping this week? Right? Like, you need to be able to have those discussions on saving, spending, wait, this is how much this vacation is going to cost. Let's not stay at the Four Seasons. Let's just stay at the Courtyard, right? Like, if you're totally separate financially and not having those spend discussions, like, you can be making more, but more going out the door because you have this separate life.
And I think it's an issue of trust. I mean, it goes back to trust. Like, what do you think you're going to lose in doing this together? Are we all in or are we not? Right? Those would be the
100%.
conversations.
It's the foundation.
Exactly, that I would encourage my children to have in their relationships, right? And honestly, to be leery of someone who wouldn't be okay being all in, right?
It's a red flag to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you're already assuming it's not going to work out.
Right.
Okay, well, this has been so juicy. Now let's get into sex. Y'all have been married for 25 years. You've been together for 30. I'm not even going to ask you, did you wait till you got married? That's none of our business, party people. But how do you keep sex alive? What'd you say, Sekou?
I'd say I'm still a virgin, but yeah.
How do you keep sex alive with such a busy schedule and lifestyle? Sekou, you're traveling a lot. You all have 3 children, 2 that are still at home. How does that work? Do you plan that out?
I thought you were going to ask about my patented moves and stuff, but I won't give the people the secrets.
I'll do that.
Yeah, reach out to me if you want to. No, I think
He's not lying.
Be intentional. The reality is, like, I just flew back in last night at midnight, and I was gone. Today is Friday. When did I leave last week? I travel every week, and so, and then I think, it becomes easier when you can figure out, leverage resources, go out, this, that, and the other. I think it's harder early on, candidly, when you're in this building phase of your career and you have young children. I think it becomes even harder then, because you may not have the childcare. I've been working all day. Maybe you've been working, the kids, like, and that's where you need to get better line. Because in tough times, I would find myself like, well, this little baby is saying daddy's the best, and you tell me I didn't take out the trash, so let me spend my time being with the baby versus. And then when you're not connecting, then sex doesn't start, as she's even reminded me, once you get into the bedroom. Sex starts when you get home, right? Sex starts when
Let the people know.
Aging,
Before.
right? So foreplay is not caresses is coming in and listening, right? And so that's what I've learned. Not always perfect at it by any stretch, but again, those are the things you actually learn. That it's not just, we just think about the physical act, and clearly that's a piece that matters. But as you get older, that it's driven by what happens in the lead up more so than when you're younger. You don't care about the lead up, as much. Yeah.
And we're very intentional, but that came through learning, right? I mean, this is what I'm talking about with mentors and psychiatrists, psychologists who've been there for us throughout our relationship. There was a point with young kids where we were very disconnected from each other, but connected as a family unit. And a therapist told us, she was like, okay, this is my prescription. Go on vacation, reconnect, the 2 of you.
Oh yeah, we did.
Vacation does it every time. Oh my gosh.
Like, you guys you like each other. Like, basically go and fall back in love is what she kind of encouraged us to do.
I remember that now.
Yeah. And that helped us, right? Because then when we saw ourselves kind of going in these separate paths, which is easy to do at any point, I think, during a relationship, we always come back together. It's like, okay, it's time for us to get away, or it's time for us to have a date night, and so we do that. We do that as well. And I think that's what helps we're always connected in various ways, but that's what helped us keep the spark going.
And like me going when I had to push the issue, like for our 20th, we needed to go away. I was in COVID still. and I booked this incredible trip for Maldives. And she was like, I don't know if I want to go because it's COVID, and that
Right.
was an incredible, reconnecting trip, right? And so again, like, and it gets to know, you have to understand each other, right, and understand the why. She with the kids, we're in a pandemic. How can we leave the kids? What if something's happening? So over time, maybe 2 years of marriage, I wouldn't have had the finesse of 20 years of marriage to understand, like, how do you help people get over what their objections are? And so that was part of it. Because if I just would lean into 2 years of marriage, like I can't believe you don't want to go to Maldives. I've planned out this thing. Like, what's wrong with you? Versus understanding, here are the things that concern you, that our kids are going to be here. Who knows what happens. And so those are the things, again, that then lead to a phenomenal vacation. And I'll spare you the details.
It sounds like it was juicy, party people. But the
Oh,
big
it was.
takeaway is spending time alone. And even if you don't have the finances to go to the Maldives, go stay at a hotel. You can have a staycation, but having time to fall in love. I remember Jason and I used to tell our kids, they would get upset, when the kids are younger and you're leaving to go out, the kids would get upset. Mommy, don't go, when they were younger. And we got advice from someone, I don't recall who it was. But what we would say to them is, mommy and daddy need to go be in love. We need to go be in love so we can all be in love as a family. So this is mommy and daddy's time to be in love, and we will be back. And that calmed them down. Because you do need to be able to spend time as a married couple to reconnect in the chaos of life.
Our kids
That's
are
beautiful.
older now, but I would say, like we do vacation. We were in Morocco last month. We're going to Portugal next week. But earlier when they were younger, like, she would want the kids to come on vacation, and I'm like, man, I need a vacation from the vacation because I was ready, just to reconnect, and we're doing all this stuff, and then you're not comfortable leaving them with
That's
somebody.
normal. I hated traveling without my kids when we were younger. Jason would push, and I didn't like it at all. The
Same,
first
same.
time the first time we planned a real trip was our 10-year anniversary. All the other traveling was like stuff, that we had to go. We never planned a trip for the two of us once we got married and had children until our 10-year anniversary. I just couldn't do it. I mean, I just couldn't do it.
Especially when I think one of our fun family vacations, first time we were in Italy, because I think that was the first time we had 2 rooms, and we had someone that was childcare, and we brought her as well. And so every night, so it was best of all worlds, because we do all the tourist fun stuff. Then at night we would say, okay, Zoe, you take the kids, and we went out. And then in the morning, kids could come back over for breakfast. And so that was the best of all worlds. And that's what we now can enjoy with older kids. But with younger kids, you're all sleeping in, like, and then
You're in a one room. Y'all, we were all in a one hotel room. Don't get it twisted. 2
yeah, yeah,
double beds, and maybe a pull out. This is how we were all living. Okay. So
yeah,
you young people need to
that's
understand that is the reality. Okay. Y'all need to manage expectations around here. Weren't we all in one? Because y'all all in one room. And be lucky if you could even bring a roll away.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and that's what you have to understand. Like, that's why having an advisor, having plans on what you want to do. You can't ball like you're 20 years away from where you are today, right? So you could still go to do the nice things, but you have to have real conversation, on how, and where we stay, how we, balance this all out. And that's another thing, you lean into your strengths as well as a couple. I think sometimes couples have the tendency to want to, everyone should have, and this may be just my view, shared exact responsibility of everything. Now, while you should have some shared stuff, there's certain things. I travel every week. I have the millions of points. So I do all our booking for vacations. I know how I want to do miles. I know what credit card points I'm going to use, but then she'll do like the activities. And so you figure out, like, what is the best breed with some of this stuff. But that all starts with conversations. Everything has to be like, and we would go away, actually. This was actually a good point early on in marriage, pre-kids, every year to envision our life
in the upcoming year and our future. So we would go away our own retreat. And it wasn't always these luxurious places. It was just going away and write out our goals and talk about our 5-year plan. So if you look at any of our 5-year plans from early on, she did say in one of our retreats that I want to move into academia. I'm going to, go back to grad school, et cetera, et cetera. If you look at my plan, it said, I want to manage this many people. I want to lead this. So write the vision and make it plain, as it's written in
Say it
Habakkuk.
again,
And that's
Sekou. What did you say? Write the vision and make a plan?
make it plain, but make it plain too.
Make it plain.
But that was a reference to Old Testament. And so that's what we did. We wrote out the vision, and I can say like it's for all our goals, it came, to pass because we put it out there and then worked for it, and had accountability partners in each other.
Do y'all hear this? They are dropping gems right here. They did a retreat, just the two of them, every year, and planned out the year and a 5-year plan. I had the Tatums, Mark and Lisa Tatum, on my podcast. They do the same thing.
Yeah, we love the Tatums. Yeah.
Nah, they do the exact same thing. So do you still do the 1-year retreat?
No.
Yeah, now
when did you get away from that?
This was pre-kids. We would do that. We do a lot of vacations with the kids, but what we do now is a vision board with the kids. And so around New Year's, we all get around the table. Everyone does their own, and we talk about our intentions for the year. So now it's more of a integrated, approach.
Yeah, but just trying to teach them to pause, to reflect, to plan, to have a vision, to have goals, and to work towards those. And then we revisit that. So hopefully what we're doing now is, kind of passing it on to them for them to learn those same skills.
And they get their intelligence from their mom. So I'm feeling very confident about their success. So.
Tell the people, let the people know, party people. Men, get yourself a brilliant, smart wife, because you already see what's happening over here with them. They're running game. Okay, I want to talk about something that I also didn't ask about, but you mentioned it earlier, and I think it's really important. Jen, you said therapist. You got advice from a therapist. So do you guys currently have a therapist, or do you do therapy on a regular basis? What is your thoughts on therapy and having a therapist in marriage?
I think it's very important to have someone who can bring outside perspective, and that means your sisters, your friends. That's not outside, right? That's inside. You need someone who can bring outside, objective perspective to your relationship. And so throughout our marriage at different points, we've had therapists who've helped us. Yeah. We started with Dr. Cobbs, who then put us in touch with an amazing Black woman in New York City. And each time that we needed help, we reached out and asked for it. And I think that's important, to recognize that you need the help and then ask for it. There have been times when Sekou's gone to a pastor who we've respected to say, we need somebody to help us. We need guardrails. Something is going on that's not right between us.
Right. We need some help.
We need some centering. And the pastor was there for us. And so for me, the lesson is knowing when you need help and being willing to ask for it and being willing to listen to it. Because there were times when I wanted her to be like, he's tripping. You're right. You need more help. You need more support or whatever. And, the advice was, Jen, you can't go back to the way things were, because you can't ever get that back. And so much of that advice I've been able to carry forward in our marriage that I think is important, right? Because some of the advice I give friends who are getting married or starting new relationships, right? The words of Luther Vandross, sometimes love is wonderful, but sometimes it's just love. And we want to chase that feeling of love, of falling in love and being in love, but we don't want to do the maintenance of having a relationship, right? And that's the hard part, right? And that's for us the sticky part. Those are the moments when we needed some help, and for people to remind us. More often than not, I think that's what it's been, is someone reminding us of our vows, like the promises that we've made to each other, not necessarily on the day we got married, but throughout our relationships, we've come back to that place of, who do we want to be together? What are we trying to build together? And is this important? And it is, right? Anything worth having is worth working for. And so you have to be willing to put in the work over and over and over again.
Yeah, I would say it's important both individually and couples therapy, because individually I can say, why doesn't she see how perfect I am? But one of the things there, when you have someone who, again, sees folks, understands your lifestyles, your background, there was something I was taking credit for, like, well, I don't do this. And again, they help you see yourself in a different way. You're like, okay, that's a good point. And so to have that, as she said, third party, because your boy is going to be like, she doesn't this and that, and same thing. Your girlfriend's is because it's about you, whereas this person is a professional. This is what they do for a living, so they're
Exactly.
able to pull out and understand, like, get you to focus on the real issue, right? Sometimes, and so I think it's important. Just as I have an executive coach with your career, like. People don't realize that all these executives, you have coaches, the CEOs, all of these people that you adore, and they all of us need someone that's an expert in their craft, that is that thought partner and help us, and whether that's in your marriage or just individual, it's the same concept and it's needed.
That's beautiful. I love how our community, the Black community, has started normalizing therapy. That is one of the beautiful things that's come out of COVID. I spoke to a young man on the street the other day. He's, in college, an athlete. He is at NYC and he is transferring to Columbia. And I asked him, what would he prefer, a personal trainer or a therapist, if he could have one of them free for a year? And he said, 100% a therapist. He said he has had the benefit of therapy before, and if he could get that free for a year, he would take it. Wise young man. So we've come a long way as a community, and I'm so happy that you all shared your therapy journey, because we want everyone to be healthy. People will pay for a personal trainer. They will pay for a lot of things. Therapists, actually, insurance pays for. So, taking care of our mental health and our relationships is critical. So thank you for being so open and vulnerable about that. I've got one last question. I actually have two questions for you guys, but one is, as you know, the Black family is in crisis. The marriage rate is dropping dramatically. One of the key factors in building wealth and legacy is marriage. We're facing so many issues, and many of our Black men are actually also dating outside of the race. Do you have perspective on that, especially having a Black son?
Yes. I mean, and Jen, you could chime in. My view, coming from the South and what we've experienced, that, marriage can be challenging to navigate, that it would be easier in some ways if someone understands your experiences culturally. At the same time, though, I'm of the view for my son or any of my daughters. Ultimately, I want them to be happy. So that is the underlying, what's important. So if there was a terrible brother or terrible sister, like, I'm not going to say, but at least they're Black. I want my child to be happy, but I want them to understand that there's beauty in their culture. And so I think that's the best I can do as a parent, that model and give them exposure and access so that they can then, go on this path, but not make a choice out of something that's deficient in them, or feeling bad about who they are and their identity. And so I believe there are enough great examples that they've been exposed to, African-American men and women, or teens and et cetera, that they're meeting. So they will be making an informed decision, not a decision based on, this is trendy now, or it's more about here's who I am. Here's what I want in a person. And here's the journey I want to go on. And this is why they will be a good partner on the journey. I don't know what you would say.
Jen?
No, I agree. I mean, I think part of both of what we're going to say is rooted in who we are, right? We grew up in the South at a time where, quite frankly, reflected on this at some of our class reunions, things are still pretty segregated.
Yeah.
Very segregated.
Yep.
And
Black,
so,
black neighborhoods.
yes,
everything.
neighborhoods, schools, even
Wow.
schools that are integrated, you still function very separately. Friend groups and all of that. And so, so our experiences have been very different from our children's experiences. So I think that has made us lean into teaching them and appreciating not just their Black culture, but specifically their Black Southern culture. Right. And so what does it mean to be a family? What does it mean to be in community? What does it mean to go to a cotillion? Like all of these things historically, right? What are your cousins experiencing? And how is that different from what you're experiencing? We hope it gives them exposure, right? To grow in their own kind of self-love and to see that reflected in other people. So when mommy and daddy were making this choice, these were the things that were important to them, right? They wanted someone who shared a faith tradition. And I don't see that any different than sharing a cultural tradition. Right? Like if that's important to you and that's a kind of deal breaker, as Sekou would say, then I would say you should probably think about culturally, are you compatible?
I can't even, again, they done drop some gems, party people. Enough said. Is there anything else you guys would like to leave for our young people as they're thinking about dating and they're pursuing, their life partner?
I think it's all about love. I think it's a journey. It can be a phenomenal journey. It's not going to be easy. Nothing in life that's like career has not been easy. Family, outside of nothing has been easy, but it's worth it. And if you make the right decisions, in particular for a partner, that you enjoy the highs even more, and those highs and successes are possible because you're aligned versus that you're just surviving. I think with the right partner, you can move into thriving, not just financially, but thriving from a happiness standpoint, from I'm living my passion, my purpose. I could wake up wanting to be with this person every day. That sex, again, sex is still part of us, but who you are as a teenager versus who you are as an adult with responsibilities, there has to be something deeper that's going to keep you together. And that's going to be intellectual. It is going to be physical. Don't get me wrong. But if it's overweighted to physical, that's the stuff over time that's not going to keep you together. What's going to keep you together is the ability to be aligned, have hard discussions, want to be there for each other, navigate tough times, know that you have someone that is in your corner that knows you better than anyone else and pushes you to do what you didn't even believe was possible.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Jen?
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I'm grateful to have an opportunity to have this conversation. I would just tell people to not underestimate the importance of having conversation. I think the young people today, we talked to our son about how he meets people and, they communicate very differently. We didn't have the tools that they have, right? We didn't have Snapchat, Facebook. We didn't have any of that, right? We're talking about paging. We talk about like I remember the bag phones before there were actual really cell phones when we were still dating. And so that made communication different, right? Put your phones down and look the person in the eye and be willing to have those kinds of communications. Be willing to step away from some of the technology and, do some of the things that are important, like take a walk with the person in nature.
100%.
I would encourage folks to meet folks in just everyday kind of old school ways, like going to church. Is not a bad place to meet someone who might share some of the same values that you have. And so communication, developing trust in yourself first, doing the work on and for yourself first, because you can't really be all that for someone else if you're not that for yourself, and be open to the other person's becoming. I mean, it was
that's powerful.
to Sekou. I was like, okay, you got to love the me now. Like you're still in love with the Jen from 10 years ago, and I appreciate that. But I'm not that person anymore. Like I need for you to love completely me who I am. And for me, that's unconditional love, right? Is meeting that person where they are today and understanding that that's going to change. And that's where the work comes in, is being willing to evolve individually, but also as a couple together.
Powerful. Party people, did you hear that? She said, fall in love to who I'm becoming. That is so strong. And it's true because we will all change. Many things will change. Well, thank you so much, Sekou and Jennifer, for being on the podcast. We are so grateful for you. You dropped some gems. You are a powerful couple. Sekou, I know you've got to get on a call, but thank you. Party people, wasn't that a beautiful story from Jen and Sekou? We are so grateful to have them on. Thank you for listening to the DOTTIE House podcast. Please follow us wherever you listen to your podcast, whether it's Apple, Spotify. We are everywhere. Please share your comments. If there's a guest that you'd like to have on, let us know. And thank you again. We are uplifting the Black community, Black marriages. We are having conversations. We are getting into it. Stay tuned. Next episode happening soon. Love y'all.